from the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, Outdoor Oklahoma. Well, hello and welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm Todd Craighead, and today I'm joined by my good friend Tracy Daniel, one of our state game wardens. Tracy, we're at Lake Carl Blackwell and we're talking noodling, and this is actually a pretty big destination.
Excellent lake for noodling, Todd. It's got a lot of great sandstone rock, big rock. It lends itself very well to the sport of noodling. A lot of holes under those rocks here.
You know, noodling has kind of come into its own. We're seeing kind of a rebirth of the sport with the popularity of the documentary Okie Noodling, and I understand that you've actually a fair bit yourself.
I have probably started when I was 12 years old. Went on a line of rocks in the Arkansas River south of Ponca City, and an older gentleman took myself, a couple of my buddies, and we got into a lot of great big channel cat that day, Todd. You can't keep channel cat. They ate us up, but it was just great fun, and I've been hooked ever since.
Well, we're going to meet two young men today, Dylan Simpson and Nathan Williams, that are avid noodlers. However, they don't necessarily fit the typical profile of a noodler because they're self-taught. You had somebody showing you, but they've been friends for years and fishing for years together, and I think really kind of on a dare on a fishing trip, they tried it and essentially taught themselves the sport of noodling. So today we're going to catch up with Dylan and Nathan as they do some noodling Oklahoma style.
We thought catching fish was real fun on poles and trawling and stuff like that, so whenever we heard about noodling, we just figured it'd be real fun, and first time we tried it, we caught like one or something like that, and we thought it was real fun. It just kind of snowballed from there.
We was taking a little float trip on the North Canadian on a big inner tube, and we was floating down and was talking about, yeah, I've heard about noodling before. And we started trying under stuff, feeling under stuff, and we went that first day about probably 7 hours and found one fish and caught it, and it was real fun. So we about the next couple years we tried it and didn't hardly catch nothing. And then about 3 years after that we started catching a couple small ones, and the next year we caught a lot of small ones, and we started catching big ones, and then a bunch of big ones.
When we started off, we was more scared of like brush piles and bank holes and stuff like that, and the more we noodled, the more we learned like what like actual current beaver holes look like, and like brush piles that we figured fish could be in and fish couldn't be in. I guess you can just say we learn where the fish are even when we haven't seen if there's fish there yet, to actually go in there and feel. We just know there's probably fish in certain brush piles and stuff. One thing you could ignore, I guess, if you actually see a beaver come out of a hole when you're about to go over there and probe it with a stick or something, I guess you'd want to ignore a hole like that. We found a few holes like that. Usually you can tell if the beaver holes or the dams or whatever have been abandoned by like old faded logs and stuff like that. You can usually tell, or if there's only like one hole there usually that's abandoned and the rest of them have caved in and stuff like that.
In the brush piles and the rocks, a lot of times you can tell by the depth of the water about, you know, when they're about, so deep, not way over your head, but not real shallow, you know, to try them. And then when you're walking up to them, if the bottom's real sandy, usually you know it's going to be a good spot. And then when you stick your hand or foot or whatever you stick in there into it, if it's real sandy and it makes kind of a bowl, then you usually know you're about to get bit or feel a fish, because they get in there and fan that big old tail and just make a perfect bowl in there, send themselves in. We was noodling this creek not very far downstream, and I stuck my foot way back in the hole because I couldn't reach it with my hands. And instead of coming up on the end of my foot, it came all the way up to my side. That was one side of his jaw right there, and that was the other side. And then that was probably his bottom lip. I think his top lip was right there on that side, so he came and got me like that. It's pretty painful, but all right.
Is it scary?
No, I'm used to that. That's what I was hoping for when I stuck my foot in there, but it just hurt a little more than I thought it was going to. They really don't hurt that bad. Usually it looks worse than it feels, but the main thing is whenever I take a lot of people for the first time, they way underestimate the power of a fish, even a small one. They'll pull it up and be happy, and as soon as they get it out of the water or something, it rolls and gets away. And I always tell them that it's gonna, even when it ain't fighting, keep your grip real strong because it's about to probably get away. And about probably 4 out of 5 people I take lose their first couple of fish. So.
They're definitely way more aggressive when they're spawning, that's for sure. Usually when we start noodling you start noodling about the end of May, just when the fish are first starting to lay up. Just usually don't find very many, and as the water progressively gets warmer, in about the 60, 65 degrees or something like that, into June and July, they usually start laying up, and other fish are really aggressive. And then usually about the end of July, they usually start slowing down a lot.
Yeah, like a lot of times we'll start even in like late April just because we're so anxious to get in there and catch some fish. And we'll just catch a few small ones, and then about towards the end of May, we start catching some fish, a lot of big ones, and then it goes real good all through June. And then in July, usually about after the 4th is usually when it starts, you catch some big ones, then it starts just, you go out and you'll find 1 or 2 fish, you know, for about the next month, and after that, it's pretty much over with.
Well, on the bigger fish, a lot of times they come up and bite you. You can put one hand in their mouth, either grab them by their jaw, or you can try to get your hand in their gill and then come from the other side through the other side of his gill. And sometimes you can latch your hands together like this and just hold on to them like that if they're big enough. But sometimes the hole's too small or something, you can't get around the back side of their jaw, and you just have to grab them by the lips or just do whatever you can. And if you pull them out and they're really big and you don't got a good hold on, try to wrap your legs around their tail so they can't try to turn on you or thrash away.
Yeah, because all their power comes from that tail, and if you can contain that tail, you got them. You got them. So if you can get them out of that hole and get them between your legs real fast, they're done thrashing. But if you don't get their tail, they'll wrap your arms in a circle and feel like they about break your arms, break your fingers. You're like, oh my gosh. Like it'll take your arm so far until they can't go no farther, and it feels like you're gonna break your arm or something, and they just get off.
Yeah, we've both been in the rivers before, and we'd want to come up and bite us, and we knew if we left and come up for air, it might come out of the hole and be gone. So a lot of times it bite us, we just grab them if we can, and we'll come up, our head will float, we'll be like, I got one, and you just see them sinking under the water, and we'll go floating down the river, bobbing our head up while the other one comes and grabs us and drags us to the bank. So
yeah, because one of you has both arms like this in him and both legs wrapped around him, so you have to have your friend come and get you to shallow water. I had him in a rock one time, and I had him by the hands, and he was pushed all the way in there. His hands were the only thing sticking out of the hole, and he was in there a good 6 foot or so, and there was a big catfish in there. But when I came to pull him out, one of the times, he'd been in there a few times, and he just was at an angle, and he wouldn't come out. And I was kind of pulling, and I had to get a way better bite on him, and I mean, put my foot on the rock and yank him out real hard. And I didn't really want to tell him that I had a hard time getting him out because I was afraid he wouldn't go back in there after the fish if I told him, so I didn't until like the next day. And then one time he got stuck out and about to get you out.
you can grab him
It's just a big adrenaline rush you get when you find a fish, and then when you're like wrestling with them, it's really exciting. It's probably one of the funnest and most exciting things I've done, really. It gives you the biggest adrenaline rush.
And it's a pretty good challenge too.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
You got him too?
Yeah. Got him?
Yeah.
All right.
He's about an average size flathead you can catch noodling. Probably about 20 pounds, maybe a little bigger.
Yeah, he's probably done spawning. Probably come out of one of these holes. There's several holes right here in the bank. He probably got done spawning, just coming out, waiting for the creek to go back up so he can leave, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, we've found some.
That's probably from him trying to go in a hole or something. And sometimes you'll find with a big chunk out, and I think what that's usually from is from him trying to go into beaver holes. Oh, he could.
This creek's actually wide enough it could probably go without some rain from
It's kind of
maybe
deep
close
right
to a
here.
month.
almost chest deep, but I mean, if we have a bad enough draught, they would die.
Yeah.
We walk down creeks all day sometimes, and we'll just find them like that, laying about every hour or so. You'll see one laying like that. Yeah, he bit me. He came up and bit me. I wasn't expecting him to bite me the way he was just laying there. He wasn't in a hole or nothing. Came up and bit me. It's kind of what we're trying to get, but catch them in shallow water is just quite a bit easier. Deep water, you can do it. It's usually a one-shot thing. You either grab them and hang on to them, or they get away. In shallow water, you miss them once or twice, you usually get another chance at them.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like in the lakes or in the rivers or something, they have like three or four different holes they can swim out of. You need like more people to block the holes, getting people swimming out.
And a hole like this, what we're about to noodle, hopefully,
Like
is just an entrance in. That's it. So you got someone there, and he can't come out. You keep him from moving. There's 2 fish in there for sure.
Yeah, I figured you might be on the other side.
That one in the back felt bigger.
Really?
Yeah. I could be mistaken. How you want to do it?
I just pull whichever one's closest to me and then pull it towards the edge of the hole a little bit. If I can reach it.
That one you should be able to reach. I can reach that one.
Yeah, give her a little bit.
Well, I'm in the other side of you now.
No, I'm
Ooh, yeah. Whole bank moved. He's doing. You got him?
Yeah, help me hold him.
All right, go ahead. How you got him?
Yeah,
That's a pretty nice one.
man, don't try to get away. Hold up sideways. Whoa, you slimy little guy. All right. I guess that one got a little bit irritated with us because I was in there and I was filming him. He didn't try to bite us or anything like he probably would have if he was on a nest or something. He probably would just bit us as soon as he got in the entrance of the hole, but I was filming a little bit. And then had her film for a little bit. I guess got mad or feel threatened or something. He just come up all the way up on my arm about like this. And that's when you heard the thud. I don't know if you could hear the thud or not, but he come up and shook real hard.
I like the whole bank moved. Right in there by it.
That one?
Yeah.
got me in the face. Yeah, just let him go too.
There are several creeks and rivers in Oklahoma that are out in very remote locations and stuff out through here, and if you're gonna want to go noodling somewhere like that, it'd be very advised to get the landowner's permissions and things like that, and ask them if they care, and ask them if they maybe want some fish or something like that. And we sure do appreciate the landowners for allowing us to come down here and film today. So I'd like to say thanks to them.
You know, it always ceases to amaze me how big a fish can come out of such a small hole.
That's true, Todd. It doesn't take much for much of a rock for a big fish to want to spawn under, in Oklahoma.
And I guess that kind of happens fairly often in the hot time of the summer when creeks and streams get low. Fish can kind of get trapped.
It does. It sure does. And that's why you have to be willing to stick your hand under virtually every hole that you encounter when you're out there noodling.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about regulations, because there are a few things that noodlers need to remember.
Right. When you're on streams, you want to make sure that you have permission from the landowner that you're noodling on and fishing on.
Well, Tracy, speaking of acquiring landowner permission, and that sometimes can be quite a challenge.
Sure can, Todd. Sometimes there's not a house nearby, and so you got to put some work in as the angler to find out who owns that piece of property, and you can look at county plat maps, knock on doors. They may not own the property, they may be able to tell you who owns that property,
right.
But you just got to put a little effort into it, even give your county game warden a phone call, and he may know who that particular landowner is, and he'll be glad to help you.
That's a good tip.
In our lakes, like Lake Carl Blackwell, we don't allow a person to use or place tubs, barrels, drums, things like that in the reservoir. We don't want boats running into those for safety reason, and it makes the kind of a little bit of an unfair chase issue right there also.
Right.
Also, we don't allow people to move fish from one body of water to another, and that's simply because we have aquatic nuisance species now, Todd, like zebra mussels, golden algae, things like that, and we don't want those transferred from one body of water to the other. Noodling is for non-game fish only, which primarily the species of choice that fishermen are targeting are flatheads. And if you catch a channel cat or a blue cat or something like that, you don't know what you've got when you're sticking your hand under that hole, of course. And so you can look at him and you have to just release him immediately to the water. You can't string him up or anything like that.
Okay. Now, speaking of stringing though, because I've had the public ask me before, you can't use anything with a hook on it.
Right.
But you can string the fish while you're there in the water in order to take that flathead home.
That's true. It's fine to carry a stringer with you and to string that fish up. That's not a problem. Just cannot have a rope with a hook attached to it, a spear, anything like that.
Right.
Any type of hook attached to anything.
Okay. Well, I love watching noodling shows because I can enjoy watching, but I don't have to be there doing it. They're entertaining, but I think maybe I've become motivated just enough to try it. You think you could take me out?
I think we need to get you out, Todd, in the great outdoors and have you stick your hand under a rock.
Well, you may just talk me into it. Thanks for joining me today, Tracy. I appreciate it. And thank you for joining us as well. For all of us at your wildlife department, I'm Todd Craighead, and we'll see you somewhere new next time on Outdoor Oklahoma.